Yuri has finally gone through the true Groundhog Day experience. Now, granted, the entire series of Gnosia, the idea of looping is sort of the Groundhog Day thing, where you can't go beyond this single day, and you're trying to figure out how to get out of the loop, and you're just stuck in there, and then at some point, yes, you have to try to take out yourself. See if there's some way of getting out of it. Maybe if I do this thing, it'll actually happen. And so yes, our two pure Yuri, our two pure protagonists, of course, when faced with the idea that two individuals cannot exist at the same time, what is the choice they make? To take themselves out in very gruesome and painful ways. Like, I know the idea is because this didn't work, let's try this out. But it's like at some point, you know, like maybe after the second time you realize, okay, doing something different isn't doing anything. I don't need to like keep trying to kill myself in horrific ways, especially not crushing. Like, I don't know, like of all those ones, like I think probably the vacuum is probably the quickest and like painless one, I think. I don't know, I've never been in a vacuum like that, but like being crushed is definitely not the one I want to do. Electrocution is definitely not one I want to do. Like, there's a lot of these that I'm like, why would you even choose to do that? But again, it's like to the idea that a true, pure protagonist would be willing to do that. Honestly, like, I have a question for everybody watching this, and I kind of know one answer to it, but like, if you were faced with this, truly, if you find yourself waking up and found out there's another existence of you and you both can't exist and you have the ability to get rid of the other one, would you do it? Like, would you actually go, you know, look, I'm the bug, I'm going to sacrifice myself? Because in the end of the day, if you were to eliminate the other one, nobody would know because the universe itself can't know that two of you were there. So would you take out yourself? Or would you take out the other person knowing that nobody's going to know? Because again, they can't know. I think most people would probably, especially even if you did keep with it as much as Yuri did, I think most people would eventually probably decide just get rid of the other one. Just get rid of the other one, nobody will know. But at the end of the day, of course, the only person that's going to know is, of course, yourself. You're going to know that you took out this individual that is supposed to exist in this world. And I think that would probably bug a lot of people. But again, pure protagonist is, of course, going to choose to get rid of themselves. They're going to choose to get rid of themselves. And yeah, overall, though, episode 17, pretty decent episode. I did feel it was a little bit off at times. Like, I think especially the whole Tomy thing, where he confronts Tomy and he's like, okay, I need you to use your engineering skills to check me out. And she's like, well, how do you know that? And he's like, well, I checked with Levy, and Levy told me you had the engineering thing, so I need you to check me out. And I'm like, wait, first of all, since when has Levy actually admitted who is the individuals? Levy has said there is different roles, but when has Levy said who is in those roles? Now, it could be specifically the fact that because they don't have Gnosia there, Levy is willing to say who's who. But at the same time, it's like, why would Levy keep that a secret just because Gnosia are there? Unless they don't want to put people in danger, you know, if the Gnosia are there, when they don't want to be known that they're, you know, specific roles. Either way, like, Levy has never said that. But at the same time, again, they also seemingly imply that this is something that happens over warps. That they have to select who they want to check out, and the moment they wake up from their warp, that's when they know who is what. Like, the investigation happens during that sequence. Again, it's probably the fact that there's no Gnosia that things kind of function differently, but it still felt a little weird there. But yeah, outside of that, I really did like the segments with SQ and Rashio specifically. I felt like the part with Setsu was a little bit lacking. Like, it did imply the fact that when Yuri met with Setsu, that she was an early version. She hasn't looped that many times. She even showed her key, and there's not much filled in there. So this is an early Setsu. I almost thought this was going to be the point where Yuri, you know, gives Setsu all those lines, you know, knowledge and all that kind of stuff. Based on what Rashio says, that whole knowledge line is supposedly something to do with the silver key. That whole, like, seeking knowledge and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking that has specifically to do with the key. But Yuri has given Setsu certain lines, and I thought this was going to be the point that he does it. He does give her some encouraging words, saying that knowledge and all that kind of stuff, and that you're going to help out a lot of people, and you're going to go on this adventure and everything like that. You're going to go on a journey, and it's going to be great. Trying to give her a little bit of a pet talk. I did like that little segment there, but I felt like they could have done more with Setsu's character in this episode, because again, kind of implying there this early moments of it. But yeah, let's get into the one that I liked the most, which was SQ. That yes, early on with this whole thing, he's trying to figure out how to get out of this loop. He keeps dying. He's trying all these deaths. And then at some point he realizes that even taking himself out isn't fixing the situation. I've tried to, figure out if I can do this or that. Maybe if I, delay him sleeping longer. Maybe if I do this. Nothing's working until eventually it comes to, let me just eliminate myself because, again, I'm the bug here. I can't take this life from this person. And then eventually SQ comes walking up. You're walking around like you're wanting to die. So I thought it gave him some wasabi in a roll. But yes, that's where we have a little conversation with SQ. And this seems like one of those moments where, like, halfway through the conversation, I realize, oh, yeah, technically SQ is the perfect person to talk to Yuri right now. Because I like how he's laying out exactly what's happening, that he's this bug and that there's the real one here and that he's going to cause the universe to explode. And he's like, you probably don't believe me. And SQ's response is, I mean, yeah, I kind of believe you, but at the same time, are you okay with this? And that was the point where it kind of clicked for me. I'm like, oh, that's right. SQ's kind of in the same situation here, right? SQ is a bug. SQ is not supposed to exist. SQ is this individual that's supposed to be her consciousness replaced by Maman. Maman's supposed to come inside of her and make her. But something messes up and something happens there, and thus she creates this other persona of herself, which is SQ. And what Yuri is basically saying right here is that I'm not supposed to exist because that's the real one. So it's like telling SQ, you're not supposed to exist because Maman's supposed to exist. She's like, I don't even know if I have a consciousness. I'm not sure if I'm actually alive or whatever, but I do this. I eat things. I do my nails. I see a hot guy, all this kind of stuff. My heart doki dokis, all this stuff. And that kind of tells me that I'm alive, right? So if you're saying that you're not supposed to exist, then I guess I'm not supposed to exist, right? And it kind of hit something in Yuri like, oh yeah, you're kind of right. Because what did Yuri tell SQ at some point? He told SQ that she's her own individual. He was trying to press upon SQ that she's a person too. So why don't you accept that yourself is a person? You have your own memories. Yes, you don't have everything that before then, but you still have your memories. But anyways, yeah, I thought it was a cute little segment here, and yeah, her coming up that close and saying, I'm going to say something really embarrassing. You got this. Don't cry. Silly thing. Girls totally fall for kitties like that. I love SQ so freaking much. I really do love her character. She is just absolutely, just an absolute treat. I love her so much. She's so great. Yeah, the other one that he talked to is Rashio, which I think Rashio was a really good step for him. I think at some point I was thinking to myself, why don't you go to Rashio? Like, Rashio is a smart dude. Like, of everybody in the ship, he's probably going to be the one that figures something out. I like the fact that he confronts Rashio, and the first thing that Rashio does is go, delay. We should do that. Dude, just chill. You need some time to think. Like, you come to me for some answers. If this thing opens up in like 2 seconds, then this is all pointless, right? Let's just have a little bit of a breathing room here. I really do want an episode on Rashio. I know I keep saying this for folks that actually check out my weekly videos on this series. I want an entire episode on Rashio. I think Rashio is by far the most interesting character. I mean, besides maybe Kukrushka and that whole storyline, I think Rashio is the most interesting and probably one of my favorite characters of the entire series. He's too freaking smart. And I love that. And I love that every now and then whenever he's the bad guy, the villain, the antagonist, in a lot of cases, the Gnosia himself, even then I like his character because he's smart. He's not evil, he's just smart. And he's willing to do anything he can in order to win. And he's going to use those smarts. He's going to be clever. He's going to manipulate. He's going to twist things on you because that's the best method to live. And again, everything around him is just so fascinating. But yes, this little scene right here, I love it because you get that sense that Rashio is jealous of Yuri, but at the same time also like empathetic to him, like feels bad for Yuri. Like with that first moment, let me turn this thing off. Okay, show me your proof. Okay, here's the key. Ah, the silver key. Never thought I'd actually see a living one. Like, it's the first time that Rashio has ever gazed upon one. Now, we did find out early on that Rashio, in talking to Yuri, he was aware of the idea of looping and knew that that there's living beings that will create this concept, but it does imply here he's never actually seen a silver key, or at least this individual Rashio. But I love this because he says out the whole lines there, which I'm guessing is a way of communicating to these things. The idea of the slogan that they keep repeating, the knowledge kind of thing, and it doesn't respond to him. And he says, oh, so it's definitely connected to you. My condolences. It didn't respond. It's definitely attached to you. My condolences. Because yes, it kind of implies later on, after like explaining all this stuff and what he's going through, he's like, yeah, what does it feel like to be at the whims of this thing? Like you're going through hell because what this thing wants. Because yes, what Rashio sort of describes here is that, and this technically confirms my theory from previous episode. He confirms this idea that these are two different things. The idea that you're here right now in this world, this timeline, and you keep repeating it because you keep running into yourself, they have nothing to do with each other. The fact that you're a bug and the fact that you're in this specific timeline have nothing to do with each other. It seems like it because it's causing this to break over and over again, but these are two different things. This key, this silver key, wants you to be here to gain something that is only here, because that's always been the silver keys thing. The silver keys thing is always gaining knowledge until it's full and then passing on. But the reset, the break that's happening, the universe collapsing is because you're a bug. Two different things. So solve this thing and you get out of here. Simple. You don't have to solve the bug thing, solve the information thing. Rashio's like coming in here going, hey, step back, think a little bit. It's simple. It's very simple. To Rashio, these kind of things are really, look, and I love this character. To Rashio, this kind of stuff is very simple. You're overthinking it, dude. You just haven't filled it up yet. Which, yes, does imply that this could be the last loop. Question mark. This could be the last one. Now, yes, it could just be the fact that it wants that one extra little drop there, and then it'll move on. It does get a little bit of information here in a minute when it goes to, him getting information from Yuri himself, but it could be implying this might be the last universe that he goes to. But to what I was saying earlier, this does sort of confirm my theory that I had previously, that the key, the silver key, and the Gno are two different things. My theory was the idea that, yes, Yuri did get planted into this world, and it could be specifically to gain this key and then continuously loop, but I had another theory that he just happened upon the silver key, and the silver key itself could be something entirely different that could essentially go up against the Gno, that could use Yuri to combat the Gno. But again, that was like one of the 5 different theories I had from last episode, because last episode had so much stuff in it. But yes, Yuri, realizing that he needs to get a little bit more information, decides to go to the last individual that he hasn't talked to yet, that's in this particular timeline, which is himself. So he goes inside the room and hides and waits for them to come in there and talk to them, which we get a little information about Yuri himself, the fact that, yes, Setsu was a lot to do with the fact that everybody survived, but Yuri at some point took a mortal wound protecting Setsu. And then that was when he was put in a treatment and apparently got amnesia during this entire impact. So the whole amnesia thing is true. From the very beginning of the series, they imply the idea that Yuri had amnesia, and then he comes in there and obviously has amnesia because, again, he's a bug. But it seems like the original Yuri himself does have some amnesia. But yes, even though he gets a little bit of droplet, he still resets, and then we get the emergency advisory from the Liu An's control tower. We're going back further. I had a theory that we're going to do this eventually, and it looks like we're actually going to do it. We're going to go a little bit further back, like just prior to them getting in there. Now, there could be something still happening here, but again, it implied that the moment that Yuri wakes up in the pod, that they have already left Liu An. This is implying that they are still in Liu An. So it might actually show us that point in which the Gno show up and attack. I was actually hoping for this because I really kind of was curious to see if they'll actually show the Gno. And again, could it be, sort of to my theory, the idea of actually being, this light? Or is it just going to be a bunch of red-eyed people running around attacking people? Again, it implied that a Gno attacks humans and infects them. And if that's going to be this light, that's the question mark. It'll be curious to actually get some actual eyeballs on what exactly happens there. But we'll see. Anyways, I think that's pretty much everything. Looking forward to the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content, you want to support channel more, become a member. Until next time, you'll take care.